All right, let's just get right into it. We've all been sold this lie, The one that says for real, lasting change to happen, we need the perfect moment to strike. Some big jolt of inspiration or this incredible feeling to finally get us moving. But what if that's the very thing that's keeping us all stuck?
This quote, wow, it just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? We tell ourselves we're just waiting for the right time or for that spark of motivation. But really, this is what's actually going on. It's a fantastic excuse. It feels wise, but it's just procrastination in a fancy costume. And all that time we're waiting, the gap between who we are now and who we really want to be just keeps getting wider and wider.
So let's talk about this trap. Motivation. It's just an emotion. And like any emotion, it's a wave. It comes rushing in, feels amazing, and then it crashes. It's gone. Now, if you're trying to build your life on that feeling, you're basically building a house on sand. The tide is going to go out, and you'll be left stranded, right back where you started.
Okay, look at this comparison because this makes it crystal clear. Over on the left, you've got motivation. It's emotional. It's unreliable. It's all about chasing those little sparks of lightning in a bottle. But discipline? That's the other side of the coin. It's consistent. It's deliberate. It's a foundation. You're not waiting around hoping for a spark. You are slowly and steadily building a fire, one log at a time. So this is it. This is the real engine for growth, discipline. And here's the thing. It's not flashy. It's not exciting. It's the quiet, steady power of just doing it again and again. Real change isn't forged in those big, high-energy moments. It's built on the ordinary, sometimes even boring days, the days you absolutely do not feel like showing up, but you do it anyway. So how do we actually build this thing? Well, step one is the choice. This is that critical moment where you decide to separate your actions from your feelings. You just act. You don't need to feel good about it first. Then comes step two, repetition. Now, this is the grind. This is showing up again and again and again, especially when it's tedious and nobody's watching. Honestly, this is where most people quit. But if you can push through that, you get to step three, the foundation. You actually build a new version of yourself, one who doesn't need a mood to move. Your actions are driven by your values, not by how you feel on any given day.
And while you're in that repetition phase, you absolutely have to remember this. It can feel like you're just spinning your wheels, like nothing's happening. But the real progress, the important stuff, is happening quietly under the surface. It's easy to mistake a lack of applause for a lack of progress, but the work is building, layer by quiet layer. It doesn't need an audience to be real.
And that brings us to this huge mental shift. So many of us are waiting. We wait for clarity. We think, okay, once I have the perfect plan, then I'll start. But the truth is, that's completely backward. Action doesn't come after clarity. Action is what creates clarity. Movement is the antidote to all that confusion. This right here, this is the whole game. We start off all tangled up in our own heads, overthinking everything. The way out isn't to think more, it's to act. You just take one small step. That one single imperfect action is what cuts through all the mental noise and paralysis.
This isn't some new idea. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius knew this thousands of years ago. Transformation isn't a debate you have in your head. It's not a thought experiment. It's a practice. It's about closing that gap between the person you talk about being and the person you actually are, through what you do every single day.
And when you do all this action, all this discipline, it leads to the ultimate reward. And it's something that goes way beyond just hitting your goals. When you consistently show up for yourself, especially when it's tough, you forge something priceless, unshakable self-trust. You actually become a person that you can count on.
And let's be really clear about what self-trust is. It's not about arrogance. It's not about believing you'll never mess up or fail. It's the quiet, deep down confidence that even when you do stumble, you're not going to abandon ship. You know you'll stay in the fight. And that kind of trust, well, that's earned.
And this is how you earn it, right here, in these little moments. Every single one of these is like a deposit into your self-trust account. It's not about the big grand gestures. It's about keeping those tiny promises you make to yourself that nobody else even hears. Showing up when you're exhausted, finishing what you started. That's where character is really forged.
So as we start to wrap this up, let's just focus on what this transformation really looks like. Because in a world that is obsessed with being seen, the most powerful changes happen on the inside, in the quiet, far away from any likes or shares or applause.
This idea is so important. Your growth is your journey.
It's deeply personal. Your identity doesn't shift because a bunch of people are cheering you on. It shifts in those quiet moments when you show up for yourself, when absolutely no one is watching. That is when you become someone you can truly look in the mirror and respect.
At the end of the day, it really just boils down to this simple choice. Applause is nice, but it's fleeting. Praise is just an echo. But discipline? Discipline builds the internal structure, the scaffolding that can withstand any storm. It builds a character that doesn't need anyone else's approval because its foundation is built on its own trust.
And that really brings us to the end. The question isn't whether or not you feel motivated right now. The real question is this: what is the one small promise you are going to keep to yourself tomorrow? It doesn't have to be huge, it just has to be kept. Because that, right there, that's where your transformation really begins.